Hey everybody, it's me, it's Undead Viking, coming to another video review. It seems like lately, a genre of game that I really enjoy that seems to be gaining in popularity is dice Euros. It seems like back in the day, the only one that I was aware that was like super popular and big was like Kingsburg, and I'm sure there's other ones out there, like To Court the King. You know, of course, you can put me on the spot right now. I mean, Alien Frontiers came out a few years ago, but it's still an excellent game. And, you know, so I really enjoy the games out there that that use dice, but also are firmly entrenched in the Euro mindset, if you will. Basically, I mean, my opinion has always been, I'm not very good at some of those games as far as, I mean, I've gotten better obviously, but I always wanted the you know, if I could just get the perfect die roll to pull off the win. I still would, even if it was like a, you know, 1 in 600 shot or whatever, you know, I always thought to myself, it's like, well, if I could just get lucky, you know, I might be able to beat this guy. Because all things being fair, at the table, there was usually somebody that was much better at the game than I was. And so I wanted the shot to have the dice in my hand and pull off that miraculous win. And so, while, you know, maybe my mentality as far as the games have gotten better, I mean, as far as my ability and what have you, you know, I still really enjoy dice. I am a role player, an RPGer first. I mean, I grew up playing D&D, and so the whole process of having dice to roll to determine my fate just kind of goes hand in hand with my mindset. So, anyway, that preamble aside, here's a game that really, you know, it's kind of flew under the radar a little bit. It's called Saint Malo. This is a game of building up your city through the use of dice. You roll dice and you use the dice, there aren't numbers on the dice, there are symbols, and I'll show those to you just shortly. But the symbols will determine what you get to add to your city, and then you try to build your city up. And in the meantime, also there is a possibility that pirates will come and attack everybody's city because you're playing against other players. And when the pirates attack, then unless you have enough defense to fight them off, you'll get minus points at the end of the game, and that can be kind of brutal. So, but the really cool part about this game, and I'm going to show it to you, is that unlike, and admittedly, I mean, this may be a part of the game just to cut down on the costs of the game, and to make it so like it doesn't have a ton of little components, little wooden components or what have you. But the game itself, all of the game boards, and I'm going to see them, they're nice and shiny in my lights here. All the game boards have like I'm not going to say they're not dry erase on it, but it's like it's the type of marker that you can clean off with water and your thumb, if you will. Like the overhead projector, you know, marker that your teachers would use. And so you actually, because like here's your city, you actually draw on here what you roll and what you get. And so, but enough about that. You know, you'll see that when I show it to you. So. But I think that's kind of like the little, like, it's kind of neat kind of thing as far as the game is concerned. And you know, it probably keeps the price down, because this game, you can pick it up online for around 20 bucks or so. So, and there's a lot of game in here for that 20 bucks. But regardless, I'm going to show you how to play Saint Malo, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell you exactly what I think. All right, well, here we go. Saint Malo. And I guess that, you know, this is something I've always thought was cool. You know, the thing about it is that they seem to be, every time I think that they've run out of cities to talk about, as far as you know, like, there's all kinds of different, like, it seems like that's just like what, you know, the whole pasted on European theme, the idea is that they are, it's either the name of a person or like a country or a city name, and so it could be theoretically anything, but they name it after that. And I've always wondered and considered, what if they ever run out of countries or cities? But apparently, since I've never heard of Saint Malo before, and according, well, that's the French rules, but according to the rules, it was nestled on the English Channel in northwest France, and Saint Malo is a walled city thick with history and intrigue. Okay, fine, whatever. I've never heard of it before in my life, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who are going to say, I knew about St. Malo and you're a moron, and you should read more about geography. But I think it's cool that we're never going to run out of these cities or countries or people to base our Euros on. But anyway, alright, let's show you how to play St. Malo. Oh, and by the way, people tell me I don't do this enough, and I apologize. It's for 2 to 5 players. Ages 9 or more, and it says the game lasts 60 minutes. No way the game lasts 60 minutes. Maybe the first time you play it, but I played 5-player games in about 45. So, alright, cool. Here we go. Alright, these are the components for St. Malo. Each person will get one of these. This is a player board, and they'll get a pen here that they'll be able to draw on here as the game progresses. And this is a board that you place in the middle of the game area that's used to keep track of a few things. Mostly it's used to keep track of when you roll pirates. You add pirates to this level here, and if you ever, depending on the number of players, 2, 3, 4, or 5, as this gets filled in, as you fill in the last box, like a 5-player game, if you get pirates all the way over to here, that's when the pirates attack with strength of 1, and then you start over the next one with strength 3, and so on and so forth. Down here, it's a quick reference to show you that each one of these, when you roll a person on one of your dice, for each person that you get, you can, for this one, you get to add a citizen. You can see they're worth a point. For 2 people, you can add a soldier, which adds a defense strength of +1 to fight against pirates. Or you can put a priest, and then if you put it next to a church, you get earn every church that they're next to, both diagonally and orthogonally. It's worth a point. With 3, you can place an architect, and for every piece of wood that you use up to 3, you can put houses down, and you get 3 points per house. You can put a merchant down, and if they're right next to a goods crate, both orthogonally and diagonally, you get a coin for doing so. A juggler for 4. For every type of person that they're next, but not you can't like put them next to a bunch of citizens. It has to be like different people. You earn 2 points for each person when you put a juggler down. And finally, a nobleman. Just if you manage to get 5, it's worth a big fat 7 victory points that you put down there. On the player board, this is the scoring track. You keep track of your scoring track by just using your pen and marking it as you go along to show what you've scored. You can. There's a little handy dandy. This is what everything costs, and just helpful to keep track of that information as far as what things are worth victory points and things like that. This is your bank. Whenever you earn money, you just draw more circles in this. There's no limit to the space. As you use up money, you cross it off. As you can see, you start with 3 money to begin with. This little symbol here, when you roll your dice, you're allowed to, after all is said and done, for 2 coins, you can flip 1 die to whatever you want. And so, except for like pirates on the 3rd roll, you can't switch those. But, so that's just a reminder that it costs 2 coins to do that. Here, this is your lumberyard. When you roll and if you get these little, like, well, excuse the language, but people always say it's like brown poo. But no, it's a log. And so when you roll, you get to place the logs in your lumberyard. And you notice you start with 2. And but whenever you have logs delivered, it costs 2 coins to have those delivered. And it doesn't matter if they're delivering 1 log or they're delivering 5. It costs 2 coins regardless. And then you just draw those logs in there, and then you cross them off as they get used. And like as I said, you start off with 2. And this is your city. The brown border here is where you can build walls. When you roll a wall result, you can build 1 wall. And those, you don't have to use any materials or anything. You just get to build it. And you can only build walls on the outside. Now you'll notice that there's a person, there's some 2 coins here, 3 victory points, and 2 coins there. As you build the wall, like if you build this one right here, because this arrow's pointing this way, you get a free person to place anywhere in your city for up to 3. So you could go to a merchant, architect, priest, soldier, or citizen. If you go here, you just get 2 coins. So you get 2 coins for building the wall from here to here. From here to here, you get 3 victory points, and from here to here, you get 2 coins. Also, walls protect you against the pirates that will inevitably come and attack you, and every wall is considered to have 2 defense strength. And so you need to use both walls, and most likely, and only a complete wall is worth 2 defense. So like if you have a wall from here to here, that's worth nothing. But if you have it there, it's worth 2 points. And every soldier that you have inside your city is worth a point. Now you can build other stuff on the walls. You don't have to just build walls, but that's the only spot that you can build the wall. And so if you build other things there, you can't ever erase it. So you're basically, you know, you're making a gamble that you're not going to need that for defense because of you just think that you'll have enough soldiers, or pirates aren't going to attack or what have you. You'll notice that there's these 4 boxes here. Those are crates. So your city starts with 4 crates in there already. So if you put a merchant down like right here, it's worth 4 coins right away because you can go 1, 2, 3, 4. You can place a merchant, and it's right next to all those. Anyway, so when your turn comes, it's like a lot of dice games. You roll, save, and roll. So you roll the dice, and okay, now I got like 3 of these pirates. Now, lots of games when you roll something bad, you have to save the bad stuff. You don't have to save the bad stuff in this game. So I can reroll all this. The only time you ever save the pirates is when you get to the very end. So right now, you know, that's really kind of a horrible roll right away at the very beginning. So I'm just going to roll all 5 of these dice and see if I can get something else here. All right, here we go. That's better. Now I got a couple of churches. I got some logs. And I got a wall. Well, churches are cool because churches are a good way to earn points. So I'm going to keep that. And I didn't even touch on churches. This is a really nice way for me to explain how these work. So one last roll. And I got a 3rd church, which is good, a wall, which isn't so good, and a pirate. So the first thing I have to do is I have to go over here and I have to mark off that I've gotten 1 pirate. So if we're playing a 5-player game, still got some time to wait, but also the other people are going to go and they're probably going to have pirates as well. And I have 1 wall. I'm not going to use that, but I have these 3 churches. Now, your goal, if you want to score points with churches, is that you want to have a string of churches that are next to each other so that you can just draw a line. And you want a level 1 church, level 2 church, level 3 church, level 4 church, level 5 church. And because if you can get all 5 of them together, that's worth 20 points. And then if there's only 4, it's worth, I believe, 13. And so it exponentially gets higher as you get more and more of them. Oh, yeah, it is. It's 4 is 13, and 3 is 8, and 2 is 4, and 1 is 1. So I got 3, and you don't have to build them in order. So what I'll do is I'll find an out-of-the-way place where I think it won't hurt, and I'll try to draw a church here. Let's see here. Like that. And then I put a 3 in there. And yeah, I'll just show you that close up. And my horrible drawing ability. There you go. So there. Now I have a church. And so then that's my turn. And then the next person will go, and the next person goes, next person goes, and eventually it gets back to me. And let's say between now and then we got 3 more pirates. And so I'm looking at that, and I'm like, well, that's not good. There's a good chance when it gets back to me, pirates are going to attack. So I'll roll. And I didn't get any people, but I did get a couple of walls. So maybe I'll keep those walls, and I'll see if I can pull something off and get enough walls. So we'll roll again. Well, I got a person, and that's not that good at all. Now I can kind of switch gears a little bit if I wanted to, because I know that the strength of the first pirate attack is going to be 1, and for 2 people, I can put a soldier in my spot, and he's got a strength of 1. But I would like to try for those walls. Boy, this is a tough one. Well, you know what? Let's give it a shot here. And that didn't work out. Oh, this one I could reroll it. Okay, so unfortunately I didn't get any better. I didn't get enough walls to build a full wall. And I have to decide, do I want to like maybe spend the 2 coins to change one of these to a person like that, and then I can put a soldier. I'm going to do that. So what I'm going to do is I cross off 2 coins like so, and now I get 2 people, and I get to place a soldier down. And so if I try to find an out-of-the-way place I'm going to put a little circle there. I'm going to put a soldier like that. And now I have a defense of 1. And I don't have to worry about it in case the pirates show up next turn. So, it goes all the way around, all the way around. And let's say, for whatever reason, the pirate, it got almost to the end, but we didn't get a pirate. So, but chances are I might roll one. So, my next turn I'll roll. I need money, so having 2 of these guys, if I can get 1 more person, I can put a merchant down and earn some gold. Oh, there's my 3rd person, but I have to re-roll these 2. I have no choice. And I got a church, and I got a crate, and I got that. Now let's just say, for example, I rolled that instead. So I got a pirate. Well, the pirates don't attack until my final turn. Well, I don't have to worry about it because I have a soldier. But I got 3 of these, so I can place a merchant. So I'm going to put a big circle like that. Put an M there, and because it's next to 1, 2, 3, 4 of these crates, I earn 4 more coins. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, and add those to my bank. And those are things that I can use. And now I add the last of the pirates, and everybody gets attacked by the pirates. And anybody who doesn't have a strength of 1, which I do, has to cross off these cannons that are up here. You notice if you have to cross off a cannon, and they're kind of tiny, but for every one that you have to cross off, that's minus 5 points at the end of the game. And so that's how that goes. The other things that you can do, if you get 3 people, you can put an architect down, and wherever you put the architect, like let's say go like this, and put an architect down, he can use 1 log to create 1 house, and the houses have to be put next to the architect. And maybe I'm just going to give up on making all those walls, and so I'm going to put 1 house here, and that's a horrible house. 1 house there, and let's say I had another log, just for example. And I'm going to put 1 house there, like that. So I built 3 houses, I cross off my 3 logs, and that's a pretty horrible log too. And that's 3 points right, so now I can go ahead and I can score those points. I can say I got 9 points right now. And so that's how that works as far as that's concerned. If I manage to get, maybe a citizen here and a nobleman here, I could put a juggler there. And then the juggler would be worth, 6 points because he's close to these people. And so I can add that on as well. And basically the game does this until, somebody there's 2 ways that the game can end. Once one of the players fills out every single spot on their city, then that person is done, and then each other person that hasn't had a complete turn gets to complete their turn as well. The other way it ends is if the person that completes the city happens to be the person that's right in front of the first player. And I should mention that the first player is supposed to cross off those right there, so you can always tell who the first player is. But anyway, but as expected, if the other way it ends is if the last person to go that finishes off their city is the person right before the first player, nobody else gets another turn, and the game is over. And so once you're done, you total up the points that you've earned as far as, with all the stuff that you've done, and then you earn some bonus points. You get your bonus points for your churches. If I had built another church like this, and another church like that, and another church like this, and so I had 1, 2, 3, 4, that'd be a bonus of 13 points for doing that. If you have any extra coins, you get 1 for every 2 coins you have. You earn 1 extra point for every log you have left over. Every cannon you lost is worth minus 5 points, as I said. And if you manage to completely fill in your city, it's worth a bonus of 5 points. So, there's a lot of different things that you can earn bonus points for, just like in a lot of games like this. Total up the points, and whoever gets the most, obviously, is the winner of the game. So, there you go. That's how you play Saint Malo. All right, well, now that you know how to play, let me tell you exactly what I think of this one. Oh, hey, it's total aside, and because somebody's going to post, because I almost always wear my twins cap when I do video reviews, just because I've always worn a cap my entire life. And yes, you may have noticed when I pulled my hat off, somebody always will post, yeah, dude, you're losing your hair. Yeah, I am losing my hair. But you know what? I'm going to have a fantastic mullet or as I like to tell my wife, I'm going to have a fantastic skullet one day. But anyway, but then again, she swears that she's going to shave my head while I sleep some morning. So one day you'll undoubtedly see just a bald guy with a big beard instead of having the hair. But anyway, all right. So St. Malo, like I said, it's pretty simple. It's pretty easy, and you know, as far as the gameplay and what it is, there's some cleverness to it. I do like the idea. As far as the you know, putting your little people down and your crates down and your buildings down and all that stuff. I mean, it follows a very classic Euro style. You need to do this so you can build up this, so on a later turn you can do this. And I don't mind that. I mean, it is a bit tiresome in a way. I mean, because it just seems like a lot of games just kind of have that ingrained in them. And I'm not faulting the designers, Inca and Marcus Brand, because they've definitely made a ton of good games. And I'm not bagging on St. Malo either, because I've enjoyed playing it. But and I don't envy people that design Euros, because I mean, it's really tough to come up with something that's really innovative, that, you know, you're not stepping on the shoulders of somebody that came before you. So I mean, but St. Malo, as far as, you know, what it's got going for it, there's a couple things that I really like about it. I love the whole the pirate aspect of the game, mainly because you know, you don't have a situation where you know, usually in games when you have like the classic 5 dice, the Yahtzee dice, or whatever, and you're picking which dice you're going to save. Usually in games like this, where there's a bad die roll, when you roll that, you have to keep it. And in this one, as I explained, you don't have to. The first 3 rolls, you know, the first time 2 rolls, if you get pirate results, you don't have to keep these crossed swords. You can just throw them back in and re-roll. It's that 3rd time that you have to keep what you rolled, and then if you get any pirates, the result. The cool thing is that if you're the guy, because one of the ways you can achieve victory is if you're one of the people that is actually, you know, has a soldier and some walls and things like that, instead of focusing on churches or you know, logs or houses, and you can jam the other players by getting the pirates to show up and giving them those negative points by using up their cannons. I mean, that's a very viable route to victory, and I really like that aspect. I mean, it's kind of neat because the walls and the soldiers themselves aren't exactly you know, they don't get any points. I mean, okay, the walls kind of, there's that one spot where you can gain victories, but I mean, the walls themselves and the soldiers themselves, really, they can facilitate points, but not worth points by themselves, but they are a way for you to, you know, like, not lose points. So the net is a gain, because if everybody else gets hammered by the pirates and you don't, I mean, you basically just gain 5 points and everybody else, and that's huge, obviously. And I also I dig the whole drawing your own stuff. You do have to watch your friends, because they'll just, when it isn't their turn, they'll be like doodling away and drawing stuff, which, you know, fine, whatever. People need something to do besides sitting on their smartphone when it isn't their turn. So I don't really have that big of a problem with it. You know, I mean, there were a couple of things, you know, as far as you know, with all the different people, and like I said, I like the spatial aspect of the fact that when you're drawing out what you have here, you know, there is that sort of thing where it's like, you know, do I want to use up a wall space to like put a merchant down when it's next to a bunch of crates? You know, and so I'm going to lose that spot. I can't ever finish that wall then. And so there's some, you know, fairly tough decisions as far as that's concerned. But for the most part, the game is really straightforward. I mean, you kind of, I have run into a lot of situations where I was able to shift gears in a way. I kind of, once I like started like going for churches, you know, to get like the string of churches and get the 20 points, I mean, that was kind of what I had to do. And once, you know, I decided I was going to like, you know, just focus on getting lumber and then building houses, that's kind of what I had to do. There is a little bit of wiggle room towards the end where like you're just kind of scrambling to get whatever points you possibly can. You know, like getting a citizen or you know, throwing a jester or a juggler out there to you know, cash in around some people. But for the most part, I mean, once you play the game a time or two, you can you get used to how much space you have and what you. I do like the fact though that one person can kind of speed things along by, you know, if they're ahead and they want to finish the game up, you know, they can go the route of like just getting a bunch of crates or something, and then they can just fill up the remaining spaces on their board and forcing everybody to have one final turn, things like that. So like I said, does it blow everything out of the water that came before it? No, it definitely doesn't. But it has a lot going for it, and you know, as far as like a shorter playing time, and also like I said, you know, it is like easier as far as the complexity goes. So it's definitely, in my opinion, it's a lot better if you want to introduce some people to Euros or introduce people to a dice Euro. This game is definitely really good for that. I sprang this on a bunch of people that had never played any kind of designer game at my local gaming convention that I have twice a year, and they really took to the game really well. I mean, they liked the aspect of it. I mean, the strategies are simple enough to grasp right away, and they're really enjoyable. And also, my family has dug this one as well. I think it's an excellent two-player game as well, because it scales really well. And so if you're somebody who plays a lot of games with your girlfriend or your wife or your son or your daughter, you know, and if you're looking for a good two-player game, something that isn't going to really tax the brain too bad, but you know, is going to just, you know, be flat out fun, I would highly recommend Saint Malo. If you're looking for non-luck oriented, if you want like no luck games that are really tough on the brain, though, you probably want to look elsewhere, because this is definitely a lighter game. All right, well, there you go. If you have any questions about Saint Malo, by all means, post them, and I will try to answer those to the best of my ability. As always, I greatly appreciate you taking the time to watch these videos that I do. Without you people out there, I would probably get bored of doing this. If I was just talking and posting these and I was getting 7 views in 3 days or something like that, I probably wouldn't be doing this anymore. So I greatly appreciate my audience. You are the reason why I do this. All right, so have an awesome day, and I will, well, see you with the next review. All right, take care.